Nightingale landscapes are more than pretty pictures. They show how the range was created and how it has changed over the past 200 million years. Let's listen to a man who knows.
So as I examine this rock, I can look at the grains in the rock and understand that it formed on the bottom of an ocean. And we know that this happened about 200 million years ago. And we can see all these little individual layers in the rock. And these layers represent periods of time. It might be 1 year per each little layer, which is about a millimeter or so in thickness, or maybe it's one storm event when a major storm washed a lot of debris and silt and sediment into the ocean. And that silt then through time settles out and piles up on the bottom of the ocean one layer at a time. So what we're looking at behind us in these dark colored cliffs are some of the oldest rocks in the region, and they're actually called marine sediments, meaning they formed at the bottom of an ocean. So if we were standing here when these rocks formed about 200 million years ago, we would be under hundreds, maybe thousands of feet of water, and these sediments would be accumulating in that ocean. That ocean was actually sort of an arm of the ocean. And there were lots of island chains off to our west. And what's really interesting about this part of our geologic history is that those island chains were sort of marching through time toward North America and sort of colliding with the western part of the continent. And one after another sort of was added to the western margin of North America through these colossal collisions. And thus the continent grew through time from originally the margin was in central Nevada, and of course today it's on the coast of California. Well, these are pretty cool rocks. In fact, granite's one of my favorite rocks. I love these rocks and many of the other different rocks that we have in this region. Why? Because they tell a history. They tell a history of how our landscapes developed. And being a geologist in this environment is like being a kid in a candy store. So here we're standing in another really fascinating location, geologically speaking, in Nevada, and also scenically. We're standing in what was actually a very large magma chamber. So if we were here when this rock formed about 100 million years ago, we would be in the middle of this huge, huge chamber of magma. And these were vast. Some of them were tens of miles long, maybe a couple miles in thickness in the vertical dimension. But why were they here? Well, this is associated with plate tectonics. In this case, we had an oceanic crust diving underneath North America because of the relative collision between North America and the oceanic plates off to the west. That was diving underneath North America, leading to a number of interactions that heated up the crust and melted the crust and formed these huge pools of magma. Well, most magma is associated with volcanoes. But where are the volcanoes? Well, they were here if we were here 100 million years ago, but they have since been eroded off. You can picture this area looking like the Andes in South America look today if we were here 100 million years ago. But all those volcanoes have been eroded away, and now these old magma chambers are exposed thanks to the uplift and erosion of these ranges associated with the more recent faulting in the region. So we look at the mountains behind us. They also are composed of the granite that we see in the foreground here. And it might give you an idea of the vastness of these ancient bodies of magma that came up into the crust. And in fact, this entire mountain range that extends another, about 10 miles or so to the north is comprised primarily of this granitic rock. So these volcanic deposits are really interesting behind us, the ones that are forming these cliffs. They actually came from volcanoes hundreds of miles away in central Nevada, and these were supervolcanoes. So supervolcanoes are very large. They can be tens of miles across, maybe 50, 60 miles across. And what happened is these supervolcanoes erupted. They sent these huge ash plumes high into the atmosphere, up into the stratosphere. And then the weight of those ash plumes, after they lost the momentum of the volcanic eruption, those ash plumes start to collapse. All of the ash starts to congeal as it starts to collapse. So the crust in this region is under extension. It's being pulled apart. And as it's pulled apart, faults form to accommodate that stretching of the crust. And that stretching is huge. Today, this region is about twice as large horizontally, in the horizontal dimension, as it was maybe 30 million years ago. And in fact, Nevada is the fastest growing state, tectonically speaking. Because of that stretching, we add about 2 basketball courts per year. There's a big fault right up, from there across here along the range front, right? So, and the mountains have been uplifted and the valley has been dropped. And this is very characteristic of this region in Nevada, one reason that it's called the Basin and Range Province. So can you believe if we were standing here about 10 to 15 million years ago, that we would have snow-capped volcanoes in the area, pristine mountain lakes and lush forests composed of conifer trees and redwoods? Well, that's true. This area was a much wetter climate. It was probably higher elevation, and 10 to 15 million years ago looked very much like the Cascades do today. So the reason for that is the geography was much different at that time. The Sierra Nevada were not present, and so we're not in the rain shadow of the Sierra Nevada, and so storms would sweep off the Pacific and dump their moisture here, much as they do in places like Washington and Oregon today. So a very, very different environment at that time, thanks to the geologic setting and the geography being very, very different. So we're in a really interesting location here that epitomizes Nevada's dynamic landscapes. As we look up into the canyon in the background here, on the left are these older marine sedimentary rocks formed at the bottom of an ocean and they're about 200 million years old. They formed, were laid down, and then lots and lots of younger rocks were laid down on top of those marine sediments. But through time, all of those younger rocks, or most of them, were eroded away. And that erosion was very dynamic because it carved out, in some cases, some very deep canyons or valleys. And then those valleys were filled later with volcanic deposits, much, much younger than those older sedimentary rocks. And so in this case, we're looking up this canyon at a much older canyon. And the older canyon is almost as deep as the Grand Canyon. It's about 25 million years old, and it's filled with the volcanic rocks that are the cliff-forming rocks on the right in our background. And those rocks are right up against much, much older rocks that are almost 10 times as old, 200-million-year-old rocks that formed at the bottom of an ocean. Why are they exposed there today? Well, it's the recent faulting in Nevada that has uplifted the mountains and beautifully exposed this geologic history, and so that you can really see a lot in one location.